Greetings, nature warriors. Welcome to my channel, Conscious Gear. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I thought what I would do, what I'm going to start doing is doing weekly videos on Behind the Brand at Conscious Gear, where I tell you a little bit about the journey, tell you what's going on, tell you all the hiccups and the joyous moments of building a brand. The truth is, oh man, a year ago, if you had asked me a year ago if I was building a brand, I would have told you, no, I ain't building no brand. Now, if you had asked me a year ago, was I making a Vesta pack or a hydration pack for bigger body people, the answer would have been yes. And what I didn't realize as I was on the journey, at the beginning of my journey, is that really what you're doing when you're creating apparel and gear is that you're creating a brand. So that's been so interesting to kind of discover, oh, wow, I thought I was just creating a product, but it's more than that. It's a whole business and it's a whole brand. So I thought what I'd do is share a little bit with you about the beginning of the journey, where I'm at now, and where and share with you kind of like what it's like being on the journey. Woo, because it's been a lot, guys. Okay, so back in about 2018, 2019, what ended up happening is that I started ultra running in 2014. And so for several years, I kind of complained about hydration packs. I own a Ultimate Direction, a Nathan. I was just looking at the brands that I have, and a Solomon. And then I have some other no-name brands. I think one is called Sierra and one's called Forest. I don't know what it's called, but anyways, and then I have one that I ordered on eBay, which was used, and I ordered it because it looked like something that I could ideally use, and it felt like, oh, maybe this is what I need. This might be good for me. So anyways, and all of them do the job mostly, but all of them have things. I have issues with each one of them, and so it's always like the lesser of six evils. Which one will I use today? And so in 2018, 2019, around that time, I said, oh my God, I complained a lot. And people were like, well, why don't you just create one? Because you have some good ideas about what kind of amenities and what kind of changes you would do. And I was like, but I don't do that. I just complained about it. But so I was thinking to myself, well, then why don't I make my own? And I didn't really know how I would go about making my own. And what ended up happening is I was living in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the time, and I went into the library, and our library has all these different things that you can check out. And they had a sewing machine. I was like, what? So I checked out the sewing machine. The first time I checked it out, it sat in my living room for 2 weeks, and I didn't do anything with it. And then I had to return it because somebody was on the wait list. And then I had to wait several weeks until the next time I popped up on the wait list to get the sewing machine. And then I got serious. I bought some material and I made it. And it was frustrating because it was a lot. It took a lot. I didn't really realize what kind of material I needed. I just couldn't, I don't know. It was really challenging. I just thought, oh, I could get a sewing machine and some material, some thread, and throw it together. No. So that was a little bit of a nightmare, and I was a little bit frustrated. And so I kind of gave up. And then around 2019, yes, it was 2019 when I learned that industrial designers are the ones that create, for the category of hydration pack, what they call soft packs. Those are bags, backpacks, hydration packs, any kind of like pack that, there's zippers, there's things that all had to come together like as a pack that you put things into. Industrial designers are the ones that create that. And I was like, oh, wow. I said, what I need is an industrial designer. And so I didn't know any industrial designers. And so I said to the universe, bring me an industrial designer. And sure enough, I mean, within a few months, it's so funny how if you put something in the universe, it will come back to you. In a few months, what happened was one of the students that was working for us said, oh yeah, I'm an industrial designer. Now I'm in engineering. And so I was like, industrial design. I'm thinking mechanical, I don't know, engineering stuff. But come to find out that this student designed soft packs. And I was like, oh my God, universe, you dope. Oh my God, you brought it to me. Anyway, so I'm super excited about meeting an actual industrial designer. So I hired her and I gave her some of my inspiration. So what I'm gonna do now, right now, guys, is show you some of the images that I shared as my inspiration. So this is some of the stuff that I shared. And notice that a lot of it was, for me, a lot of these images really was about, I like this feature, I like this design, I like the way this looks, I just like different aspects of these different things. And then here are the images that she kind of crafted based on some of the elements that I liked. But and then the next step would have been for me to select, and then for her to put it all together. And so what ended up happening was, during that transition time, the student ended up graduating. And so I was thinking about continuing the relationship, but then I heard about an organization called Fabrique. And what Fabrique does is they work with entrepreneurs, fashion, really what I really like, I don't really consider myself a fashion designer, but I guess because I've decided that I'm going to do apparel and gear, I am, I guess, a fashion brand. Anyways, still struggling with the whole brand thing, girl. I help a sister, okay? Anyways, so what they do is they help you from ideation to manufacturing and all the steps in between. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you guys a little bit about what happens in that process and why you have to go through these things. So when it comes to designing anything, really, a product, even if it's a piece of clothing, the first thing you need to do is think about design. How do you want to design this? How do you want it to look? The thing about the design phase that people also have to understand is that it's about your brand. And so you're not just designing, like, I'm not just designing a hydration pack. I have to decide as a brand what I want my stuff to look like. And part of understanding what my stuff will look like is to understand my business, which really meant when I got to the Fabrique stage, I really had to step a few steps back and get back into my brand and understanding my company, understanding what my value proposition is, understanding who my customer segment is, my revenue streams, my customer relationship, my key partners, my key activities, all that stuff, my business model canvas. And so I will do another video on that, because I think in understanding that piece, you'll understand why I've made certain decisions around my design. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is design. So, and design can last as long as you need it to last, and you should allow it to last as long as you need it to last. Because sometimes you need to let that stuff percolate inside of you. I know that for me, like originally I was like, oh, I just want a hydration pack, get it out there, go. And now I'm like, no, conscious gear is about, I understand now that my brand is about creating products that are, that fit, that are functional, that are somewhat stylish, and that are durable. And so when I'm thinking about all that, I can't just do certain things. Like I have to really be conscious about what kind of textile I use, how it's made, to make sure that it lasts, make sure that it fits, make sure that it looks good, make sure all those things that I thought, oh, that it just would naturally happen. No, those are things that you consciously design. So first phase is design. And then the second phase is prototyping. And I'm gonna say this about prototyping. There's two words that get tripped up for me: sample and prototype. The reality of the situation is, once you get through your design, then what happens is, once you design on, oh, this is what's going to look like, this kind of maybe textiles you're going to use, then what happens is they do these, what they call tech drawings. And the tech drawings puts in picture form what your product is going to look like, kind of in a 2D dimensional way. And says, oh, these are the kind of textiles and where. So the trimming, the fabric, the cords, the zippers, the buttons, whatever you're going to use on that product, all that stuff is on your tech pack, because it's instructional to, number one, pattern making, which is the next step. Your pattern and all of the combination of the pattern and the tech pack, all that is sent to the manufacturer to make sure that they make your product the way you want it to be made, the way that you consciously designed and decided how you want it to be made. And the selection in terms of choices of textiles and trimmings and all that kind of stuff, because you just don't want to send something over to a manufacturer play. First of all, you can't even send anything over to a manufacturer play. Okay, let's hold up. Let's back up. You cannot send your patterns over to a manufacturing plant and have them make your stuff. I've talked to at least 50 manufacturers, and guess what each manufacturer does? They require you to send the fabric over along with your pattern. You can even send your tech pack, but guess what? You're still gonna have to pay, and you're still gonna have to take the time out for them to make a pattern and then for them to make a sample. You have to do a sample with every single manufacturer. None of these manufacturers trust each other to know what they're doing. And I get it. Like, at first I was like, oh, y'all just trying to make some money off of me. But now I realize that every manufacturer, like their equipment, their processes, just the way they do things could be different. So much different that the tech pack that I'm working on right now may not work at any of the manufacturing plants. They will be able to make informed decisions, but they're still going to require me to go through a pattern making sample process where they make the pattern, they make the sample. I make sure that sample is what I want. Once I get to the sample that is perfect, then it is a prototype. So that's why I get tripped up on the wording, because I always thought, oh, I'm working on my prototype. No, boo. You're working on your pre-prototype sample. That's all you've been doing all this time, and probably what you're going to be doing for a couple more iterations. And so sample is really like what it's going to look like. Once you say, yes, this sample is on point, then it becomes a prototype. All right, so, and that process can really, again, it could go circular, because they could bring it back to you after they made it, and you're like, this is wrong. This is, So, and also what I've learned in my sample making process, and I've spent a little bit of money on this, and which is like, let me know that it's going to cost you a minute. It's going to cost you a minute. It's going to cost you money, not a minute, money. It's going to cost you minutes and money. I meant to say money, but I kept saying minute. But I guess it does cost you minutes. The sampling process, because you have an image in your mind of what it is you want. You know how you want it to look, and all those. And then if it comes back and it don't look like the way you want it to look, then you're going to have to pay for another round. And it could be a little costly. And I will say this, whether it's apparel or product, that's just how it works. Research and development is one of the most costly. That's why those pharmaceutical companies, quiet as it's kept, we always complain about those pharmaceutical companies spending all that money on research and development. You know what? Hello, when you come to medications and all that kind of stuff, yes, do your research and development and make sure you keep iterating until you get to the perfect thing. Because the last thing you want is somebody to skip or to shortchange the research and development process. So know that that's the part that you're going to need some money and you're going to need some time, and it's going to take a whole lot of investment. And I think it's good for people to do that. Because then when you get to the end, you're going to learn so much in the process. You're going to appreciate R&D. I appreciate research because that's my job in academia. However, like just being a part of like building a brand and a product and all that stuff, I really do appreciate the research, and making sure that I got what I want and that it's perfect. And it's, because my thing is your customer satisfaction is my number one priority. And I don't want to ever, ever produce anything or send anything out to you that's just less than stellar, less than high quality. I won't do it. I'll just go keep working my day job. I ain't got no time. Be trying to, you know what I mean? So I'm really committed. And I'm also one of those customers. I'm my own customer. Like, I'm not out here trying to run in my own hydration pack and it don't work. That don't make no sense. So R&D, prototyping sample, all that, it's going to be a little rough. So I want to show you. So what I want to do is show you guys this other kind of infographic that kind of outline what the process is. And so you brainstorm during your creative process, and then then you go to research, which I was talking about, textiles, design, inspiration, all that kind of stuff, and then your vision. And then again, your vision is about your business. What is your mission, and what is it that you want to offer your customers? And that product needs to be in alignment with that. So if you're a high-end, another thing I learned in the fashion industry is that there's different levels. So there's this kind of like what they call fast fashion, where you kind of make it inexpensively. And then there's kind of this mid-level, and then there's kind of like a boutique level, and then there's high-end and high-end and high-end. And so you need to figure out early on where you are in this paradigm. And I think I'm in between medium and high. And the reason why is because hydration packs are highly specialized. Not everybody in the world wants a hydration pack, but those that do need their hydration packs to do certain things. And particularly for bigger body people, we definitely needed to do certain things. And so I can't like do fast. Like if I just wanted to make a cheap China, sorry about that. If I just want to make a cheap product, I can do that. And cool. But that's not what I'm trying to do. Like my brand is about fit. It's about functionality. It's about comfort, and it's about durability. I want a high quality product. So I'm taking the time, and I'm doing the necessary research and going through this iteration process to ensure that I create that, because I'm more of a mid to high level brand. Okay. So the second thing is sampling, what I talked about. Y'all gonna be you're going to love sampling. And then you're going to go into what they call production, which is manufacturing. And guess what, fam? Once you get, I'm ready to do my happy dance around my official prototype. But then guess what? Manufacturing is a whole nother beast in itself. Because, okay, so let's say, I'm hoping within 6 weeks, I'll have my prototype. When I get ready to do manufacturing, I got to source. I got to find out which companies I'm going to get all of my stuff. Now, I'm doing that in my prototype sampling process, because in order for them to make a prototype, they got to know what kind of fabric they need to use. And I have to know where I'm going to get it from and how much it's going to cost, because that I have to, again, you're doing costing too, like how much it's going to cost to make this thing, not only time, but materials. But then there's manufacturing, and manufacturing is like, I got to get all the textiles there, then they cut it. Another phase of my textile, what's going to happen for my manufacturing journey is that once they cut it, then I got to take it to the person who's going to put the heat transfer, reflective vinyl on the products with my logo on there. That's another process. And also I'm doing what they call decorative, reflective, heat transfer vinyl. So it look, look good. I want it to look good. Okay. So I got that. And then I got all the trimmings, the cores, the zippers, thread, everything. And while most manufacturing companies don't necessarily charge you for thread, bring your own thread, honey, because you want to make sure that it's quality and that it's good. Again, I'm about high customer service and high customer value, and I want you to be happy when you get your product. So then you do production, and then after that you go about distribution. But I'm telling you, getting up to production, and it's been a journey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do videos for me telling you about what my design process has been. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my tech packs. I'm going to do my pattern. I'm looking down at my list, y'all. That's why I keep looking down. I'm going to talk about sourcing, because oh my God, I'm going to talk about sourcing, because sourcing is no joke. But before I go on, I want to say that I'm also going to talk about pattern making, because that has been a really interesting and learning journey. Because depending on what kind of textiles you use, sometimes it will shift and change how patterns are made, because certain textiles, if you blend them together, they got to sew on top of each other or under each other or around each other, whatever the case may be. There's different processes. And if you want durability, there's different processes. So it's not like you could just throw it together and it's just done. No, it doesn't happen like that. Wish it did, but it don't. Anyways, and then I'm going to talk about my whole manufacturing process once I get there. So, I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired. I'm just tired taking y'all behind the brand. So I hope you got a little bit of I hope you felt inspired to do your own brand. And I love it if you guys give me some feedback, ask questions, tell me about your journey, tell me if you want to take this kind of journey, and let's be on a journey together. So I'm going to do these videos once a week behind the brand with conscious care, and I look forward to sharing, and I look forward to sharing your energy with me on this journey. So thank you so much. All right, fam, take good care of yourself. Nothing but peace and love, and I'll see you outdoors. Take care now.